Good day, everybody. This is Dennis Rietvink from Savision. Today we are presenting the new LiveMaps Unity release 7.5. But because we know there's a lot of new people that registered for this webinar, I will quickly kind of go over the value proposition. So what do we add to Microsoft System Center today? Why should you care, right? And then we jump into the new features of LiveMaps Unity. We will have some demos. And I think we should be good and should be finished in like 30 minutes. If you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A section. So we will answer them along the webinar. Okay, can I start with the value proposition? So for those, the people on the call that are not familiar with LiveMaps Unity, so what we kind of solve for you is that if you work with the monitoring product, Microsoft System Center Operation Manager, that is usually perceived as a very technical tool, meaning that the output of the monitoring tool is really saying something about components. So is your server still healthy? Is your database still healthy? It's usually, again, a System Center is a really good framework, a really good component monitor, so to say. But a lot of people have kind of difficulties to kind of determine the priority of those alerts, right? Which one do I need to fix first, and which one has business impact? So at the end of the day, the SCOM console is usually used by some engineers in the infrastructure team that might or might not be happy with the tool, but are still able to get definitely some value out of it. But it can take some time before they figure out what the business impact of an alert is. Kind of a pity, because there are so many other stakeholders within the IT delivery landscape that could benefit from all the useful data in Operation Manager. The only thing that needs to be done is, instead of presenting it as components, is do a better way of pivoting all that data, all that technical component data, in a way that the business looks at IT, and the business looks at IT from a service perspective. Because nobody calls the help desk that the database is not working. People call the help desk because email is not working, or the SAP is not working, right? The CRM system is not working. So that's definitely something where we help organizations. So we kind of help the Microsoft System Center customers to transform System Center into a business service management solution. So we ship our solution with an easy kind of authoring experience that allow you to dynamically create that pivot from component to services. And within that service, kind of define some categories to make it easier to kind of share high-level information with management and more detailed information with the help desk, and even root cause information with the engineers. So we are kind of a native extension for Operation Manager, extending the UI. And today I will kind of proud to announce our new portal, our LiveMaps Unity portal, which is completely responsive, and will be the kind of the future way forward if it comes to presenting all the data in Operation Manager. So just a quick takeaway. So we take the data, the technical data from Operation Manager, allow you to pivot that in a service-oriented view. So also the service-oriented delivery people can benefit from that. And around that, we have a lot of added value around the whole ITSM process. So we integrate with Service Manager, we sync with CMDBs, we integrate with ServiceNow, we have SLA Monitoring, all kinds of stuff that helps you with your IT service management practice in your organization. But I will detail that a little bit more. Just on the service dependency mapping, because that's one of the core pieces of kind of the authoring side. So what do we basically do? So SCOM knows a concept called distributed application. And that's basically a collection of components that make up a service or application. But usually something is read within that group of components, bubbling up read to the distributed application, while maybe the end users are still happy. Something you can think of is maybe a clustered SQL database, where the kind of the cluster node dies, but the database is still happy and the end users are too. So that's one of the reasons why we kind of have an extended version of a DA. So it isn't DA in essence, but we have a couple of subcategories under that DA, under that service. One of them is the end user perspective. So the end user perspective contains monitored transactions by System Center Operation Manager. So System Center Operation Manager allows you to define static transactions that kind of monitor a service from an end user perspective. So is that website still up? Can I still log into that web page? Can I still execute a query on this database? Very useful information, a very powerful feature of SCOM, but because it really tells you if there is a business impact, right, of an outage. But if somebody cannot log into a web page, that's useful information, that's kind of proactive monitoring, but it just doesn't tell you anything about the root cause. So for that, we have a second layer of information. That's what we call the application layer. That basically groups all the monitored application components in SCOM. So for example, a SQL database, an IIS website, a Windows service, because it really gives you an end-to-end view of that application architecture. The third layer is basically the underlying infrastructure. And again, the reason why we separate application and infrastructure is that example I mentioned in the introduction. For example, if you have a redundant backend, and most organizations do, right? They have a SQL cluster that their application connect to. Then something can happen with one of the nodes, but it doesn't really have, and that is something that is an actionable item for the infrastructure team, right? If one of the nodes dies, somebody needs to do something. But does it mean that his managers should see red on his dashboard? Because they usually don't want that. They want to see the upper management or the delivery managers to see only red when it affects end users. And by implementing this model, so again, creating those DAs is done through our authoring console, which I will quickly walk through in the demo later on. Really helps them to define the service and to add the right components to the right categories. And last but not least, we allow you to define service dependencies. So which other service do I need to function? And if you do root cause analysis, you might see that your end users have a problem, but your application layer is fine, and maybe your infrastructure, but you might see that maybe Active Directory has a problem, right? And so that allows you to do some additional root cause analysis when you have end user problems for a particular service. On the other hand, when you create all those services with LiveMaps Unity, we automatically populate a services dashboard for you that shows you the overall health of all the services in your organization, and also kind of prioritize the order in the dashboard. So meaning if there is a service with end user impact, it will become red, it will be sorted at the top. But if there is a service that has many depending services, so for example, DNS, or calling an IT service, not so much a business service, but more an IT service. But let's say your DNS service fails, then your whole dashboard might be red. So if you have those inter-service dependencies defined, then we know to put it on the top of the list. Can I summarize the service dependency mapping with LiveMaps Unity on top of System Center Operation Manager? So it's wizard-driven, so no XML editing. You can create dynamic service models. That's a really important feature because if you want to do this out of the box with SCOM, you need to write your own management packs, go into XML, no scripting. So a lot of work to create and maintain those service models, and that's something you can do with a simple UI with LiveMaps Unity. So we have some out-of-the-box services, and we also allow you to import existing DAs. So if you already mapped out some of your services into like traditional DAs, you can import them into the kind of advanced DAs that come with LiveMaps Unity. And for the rest, we do a lot of things in the background for you that you don't have to worry about. For example, we create a management pack that contains the DA, we create the DA objects, we automatically start tracking service levels on all different levels within your DA. We enable service outage notifications. That's something I will explain in the demo. And we adhere to the role-based security of SCOM, and we allow you to also configure that from the authoring console. The ITSM integration is really important because you create those dynamic service models, and if you then connect to your ITSM solution like Service Manager or ServiceNow, that's all services based, right? That service is the basis of ITSM. So what we do with the connectors, we automatically create and update business services in the ITSM solutions, so that whenever somebody at the help desk registers, maybe or maybe SCOM is automatically forwarding alerts about the components to the ITSM system, that we automatically kind of pick up the affected service for you. And also from a change perspective, if you kind of create a change request in one of the systems and you add a CI that you want to change, for example, reboot a particular server, then we will automatically show the affected services because we kind of synchronize those dependency mappings for you. And next to the kind of the services dashboard and the service mapping, we allow you to create kind of any type of visual perspectives on the data in SCOM. So we will see in the demo that we have that matrix service view that allows you to see the health of all the services and the different perspectives. But you can also create your own custom dashboard. So for example, here the CIO dashboard, it's fully customizable. So here it only shows the end user health of a number of core services. And we see some IT services health, but you can really tailor it down to the needs of a particular person. Also, there are, of course, still people that want just a technical view of their environment. So, for example, a data center view, or even maybe a nice geographical view. But what we have added with the Live Maps Unity release in 2014 is that from any map you created, so from any perspective you create with Live Maps Unity, we allow you to go from a component to an affected service. So if you look at the screen, you see the rec kind of image. If you click that that server object on that map, you can see show related services. So even if you're not so much interested in services, but of course your organization does, but if you still want your technical view, we still allow you to see, okay, what might be the effect of this server being read, or what might be the effect of rebooting this server. You can see which, in this case, it's a SQL server, which database are hosted on the SQL server, and which services might be affected when I kind of reboot this server. So let's jump to what's new in Live Maps Unity 7.5. One major change for the vision is that we released the Live Maps Unity portal. And traditionally, we have a native integration into the SCOM console, and we had a web console that was presenting the output of all the modeling and dashboards you created with Live Maps Unity. But we wanted that to be more responsive, to be more modern, and really really comply with today's kind of requirements in large organizations. So with this release, we still have the native integration in the SCOM console and our kind of legacy Live Maps web console, but the Live Maps Unity portal is shipped as a separate download. I have to say that with this release as kind of a preview, we are still finalizing kind of the latest functionalities to be kind of feature par with the old console, but we are getting close. So after you download the Live Maps Unity release 7.5, below that you see the Live Maps Unity portal preview. You can download that just next to your installation, and the only thing you need to do during the installation is point that to your kind of SCOM server, and it will do the rest for you. It does include our dashboard offering, so the people on the call that kind of followed our kind of release early this year might recognize a lot of the stuff that is in the Live Maps Unity portal, because we offer kind of a dashboard solution that allow you to create really quick technical system dashboards on top of Operation Manager, so not so much the service-oriented views, the structure that we talked about with the offering. But that's now included into the Live Maps Unity portal. So we will show that in the demo briefly. It also includes a couple of HTML5 SCOM replacements. So we will have a Health Explorer that comes with the console. You can enable stop and start maintenance mode. You can stop and start tasks, and also do some alert manipulation. So you can change the status of your alerts from our Live Maps Unity portal. If we quickly jump to a demo here. So now we can connecting to the IIS server running the Live Maps Unity portal, and that's connecting to our SCOM environment in my lab here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So what we see here is the start page of the Live Maps Unity portal. Let me quickly kind of refresh it. I'm still logged in here. That's what I thought. Which is basically connecting to my SCOM backend. what we see here is we see a section service management where we have access to kind of the service overview, all the services modeled in my environment. And we have access to all the old live maps views, so to say, all the different graphical perspectives that you can create with live maps. Next section is kind of where we give you access to the Cloud Reporter offering. That's still in progress. We have some Cloud Reporter functionality in the Live Maps Unity portal, something that will be extended later. And we have some system dashboards, so some out-of-the-box dashboards that are now part of the Live Maps Unity portal. For example, a quick overview of all your computers, monitored by your SCOM environment. And we kind of, because computer health is kind of so hard to determine in SCOM, because it is, of course, the computer itself, it's the disk space, CPU, and they are all sometimes monitored by different management packs, and it's kind of hard to see that in context. With the computers and health and monitors kind of dashboard, you can see that all in one view. You can see the health of the agent watcher. So yeah, the server might be unreachable, but it might be a result of the agent, the SCOM agent not being running. And we kind of separated the most kind of common perspectives on that server, so disk space, CPU, event log performance, and memory. So very easy, it's out of the box. When you install the Unity portal, you have that available. For Active Directory, let's quickly show you. Again, this is not new. This was part of the dashboard offering, but now shipped for free with the Live Maps Unity portal. Well, this is kind of a very limited environment with one domain controller, but if you have many domain controllers, you can quickly see kind of a top 5 of good or bad performing AD domain controllers. And of course, we still have the ability to create custom dashboards. So let me quickly go to a specific dashboard I created just prior to this webinar. So we allow you here to kind of combine the live maps with other information. So for example, SLA information, or even just results of a SQL query. So let me quickly show you. If you go to edit mode here, we now have a live maps widget, which shows you the content of a live map you created, which you can combine with an SLA widget or kind of a generic SQL widget. Can we go to the configuration here, where you can just specify an endpoint, a SQL server, and some SQL code that will show the result inside of that widget. So kind of a generic dashboarding tool to kind of create specific dashboards for a specific person. Because there is always a need for custom information needs, so to say. The big change here is, of course, the service overview, which we kind of extended here. And here we kind of see all the services modeled with Live Maps Unity. One of them is order entry. I see that my end users have a problem, and there is a problem in the application layer. My infrastructure is fine. And this is also new in 7.5. We will talk about that a little bit later. But that's basically SLA monitoring. I see that my SLA has been breached. So we now have proactive SLA monitoring in Live Maps Unity. And I see that the related services, so the services I depend on, are also good. So the root cause is really in the application layer. When I drill down into that service, I see a little bit more detail. So I see all the objects that need attention in SCOM. So I see I have 3 synthetic transactions that are failing. I see I have one object in the application layer that's failing, and I see some open alerts here. And as I said, we can just click an alert and say, okay, acknowledge and update that. So it's very easy to manipulate that information. And of course, we can show kind of the Health Explorer here. Just quickly, HTML5, no waiting, really, really fast. To get a little bit more detail, I can directly go into that component map, and here's where you see the big investment, where we kind of took all the live maps diagram views and kind of translated them into HTML5 for you. So it's all SPC compliant. Let me quickly kind of rescale that. Really, really responsive. And of course, from here, I still have action to all the different tasks. So I could also see. I just have a quick question here. Can I embed a different portal views into your dashboard? Yes, you can with a custom web view. How you would handle the login, that would be kind of similar to any other, if you would kind of include a web view or web part into a SharePoint site, for example. If you have any more questions, just drop it at my email at the end of the webinar. So yeah, from here again, access to Health Explorer, start maintenance mode, access to my alerts, and so really a quick way now to navigate to all that data. Let me quickly go back here. And let's set the database online. So that will take a while before that is executed. We're not going to wait for that. But eventually, my database will be put online, and I'm ready to go. And you see here, I went from this kind of easy to understand overview, that service overview, into more detail into that service map, where I could see everything that needs attention. And then I went into kind of the component map that showed me all the details. And I could kind of execute a task that solved the problem for me. So we're not going to wait for the end of that task. Let's quickly go back to kind of the overview. And so again, for the people that are familiar with LifeMaps Unity, the solution is still shipped with the SCOM console integration and still shipped with kind of the LifeMaps web console, the old one, so to say. But as you can see, the LifeMaps Unity portal is slowly taking over all that functionality to kind of show all that data into a new and fresh and kind of responsive format. Let's move on to kind of the next new stuff in LifeMaps 7.5. So the other thing, big thing, is kind of what we call proactive SLA monitoring. Proactive monitoring of SLAs is really important for organizations that try to achieve high availability, and that's now something we kind of enable for System Center. So it includes the business hours definition. It generates a warning alert before breach and a critical alert after breach, and a simple configuration from the LifeMaps Unity authoring console. So let me quickly kind of show you that. So the first thing we'll do is we kind of jump to the LifeMaps authoring console. So this is just a desktop application connecting to the SCOM backend, because yeah, LifeMaps Unity doesn't need any kind of databases or a separate infrastructure. We just leverage the SCOM backend. And when we open, let's say we open the order entry example here, as what you will see is kind of a service-oriented authoring experience. That's what we're trying to give you with this authoring console. So back to the starting page, you see some wizards allow you to discover existing services, create a service, or import an existing DA, or do your custom dashboard and maps kind of work here. But now from a particular service, so we see some general settings here. We see the end user map, and just adding objects to this map is just as easy as drag and dropping those objects on the map. So really easy to work with. You don't need, again, XML knowledge, even if you want to define kind of dynamic models. So what we did here, so you can add basically any membership rule. So you can say, I want all the demo websites where the display name contains order, for example. Oh. And you can see they're automatically added. So in case SCOM detects, so let's say you deploy another instance of that website, and as soon as SCOM detects it, this map will get automatically updated. So again, all done from a user-friendly UI. So back to the service. Same for infrastructure. And let me skip service levels for now. We'll go into a little bit detail soon. Security. So also from the LifeMaps authoring console, we allow you to assign rights to SCOM roles. So we can say the CIO role should see this service on his dashboard. The help desk engineers can open the service map, and the infrastructure engineers can do everything within that service. And when you save this configuration, we automatically store the role-based security settings in SCOM for you. Notifications, so definitely something I will show you in the SCOM console soon. So something we enable with our service model is to basically create notifications on a per service perspective base. So let's say I have 10 end user transactions monitored for a particular service and 5 get into a critical state, then it will create 5 alerts in SCOM. And do I want to forward all 5 alerts to my email or to my ticketing system? Well, 5 is still doable, but let's say if it's 50 or 100, well, you don't want all of them in your inbox. What we do is the first one that triggers the end user perspective to go into a critical state will generate an additional alert saying, okay, we have end user availability problems for this particular service. Let me quickly kind of show that in this SCOM console for you. This is kind of a high level service alert. Again, doesn't tell you anything about the root cause, but is a great way to kind of alarm people, right? To subscribe to these type of alerts, where you can say, okay, only show me end user availability problems for these and these services. That really helps you to scope, to filter down all the alerts that are forwarded to your email or to your ticketing system. And of course, from the kind of the alert details, we allow you to jump to the service map, where we contain all the details about the outage. So, well, our philosophy is only alert me when it's really when something is really interesting going on for me, and leave all the details in SCOM. So inform me that I need to do something. I click a link, it gets me in all the details. I see all the objects that need attention and all the alerts that are currently open in the context of my service. Oh, so back to the authoring console. And of course, the related services. So here's where I can define, okay, this service relates on my Active Directory service. Now to the new section, service levels was already there. So here are the service level objectives that are created by our authoring console in SCOM. And new in 7.5 is that we allow you to enable business hours and enable SLA monitoring. So you can say, okay, I have a goal of this as a low, which is 99%. So this will be a critical threshold, but you can set a warning threshold on any values, in this case 99.5, and monitor it every 1 hour or every 10 minutes, whatever you want, and generate an alert. So that's an additional kind of service alert, as we call it, and it will come up like this. So we have service level availability problems. And again, this one is already breached, so this is a little bit too late, but of course, you can also define a warning threshold, so you get an alert before breach. Oh, okay. So the question is the Unity portal a replacement for the LiveMaps 7.0 web console? So yeah, we ship them both in this release because we are in transition. So we are not completely kind of feature par. We're getting close. So you can already try it out and figure out if it's enough for you. And if you, of course, if you miss something, let us know. They're shipped both to kind of answer your question. And do I need a license for that? No, it's part of your LiveMaps Unity license. So you can just download it. If you have a valid license, you can install it, connect, and it will work. Okay, kind of quickly. Okay, service level monitoring configuration, because yeah, just to quickly kind of show the people the integration in the SCOM console. Okay, so this is kind of the native integration, which is still in 7.5, still works. But again, we are getting the LiveMaps Unity portal up to speed, so we can do everything from that side of the world. If we jump to service levels here, we have access to all the service level information in the data warehouse. So in this case, well, this service has already been down since the beginning of this month. And even jump down here. Oh, something is wrong in my lab environment. So yeah, so the drill down to the service map, drill down to the service level details. And for the people on the call that might not seen kind of the recent blog, it's about maybe nice to kind of see the integration with OMS. So those service alerts can be really, really valuable from notification perspective, right? But also maybe from an integration perspective. So we have customers that use those service alerts to integrate with incident management systems or forwarding them to kind of a ticketing system. But here we have kind of an example how you could possibly integrate that with OMS if you forward those alerts into the OMS kind of data lake and use some of the out-of-the-box widgets with queries to show, in this case, services outages with end-user impact or service levels at risk. So, of course, at the end of the day, there are alerts stored in the big data lake behind OMS and allow you to do some analysis on that if you want. Quickly back to my presentation here. So for everybody on the call that's not a customer yet, go to the eval link here to get your eval key and start playing around with Lifetime Unity yourselves. So we have a very extensive proof of concept guide that helps you install and deploy a number of common scenarios in kind of a lab environment. And you don't need a really sophisticated lab. It comes with a demo application that creates all kinds of dummy objects that allows you where you can set state on. So really for customers who really want to try out our solution in kind of a guided way. It just takes you 2-3 hours to deploy the solution and work through the most kind of step-by-step instruction to work you through the most common scenarios to see kind of the added value of our solution on top of Operation Manager. And of course, if you request a proof of concept, so if you are more serious, we will definitely help. You can even help you to kind of successfully end your proof of concept. And when you do so, you get a really, really nice T-shirt as kind of a present for that. You need to go to this link and request your proof of concept there, and then we make sure you send you a nice T-shirt. Okay, anyone, if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A section. Just watch that for another minute. And of course, this webinar has been recorded, so we will send out an email later this week with the details to the recorded version. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, if you have any questions later on, make sure you send them to me. Dennis@Savision.com will work too, so forget the difficult Dutch last name, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. And then I want to thank you all for your attention, and speak to you next time. Bye-bye.